I don't know. I'm just
What's
talking.
going on, everybody? Welcome back to Carpool Gaming's The PlayStation Drive. My name's Matt, and I'll be your driver for this week's events. I'm joined, as always, by the Supreme Court of Canada himself, Mr. Court Lalonde. What's up, Court?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah.
It was like monster trucky there for a little bit.
I know, I was having fun with it. I wanted to infuse some energy right off the top so that when I peter out as the show goes on, nobody's going to notice, you know?
Considering you and I have already been like talking today, it's just like a thing now.
It's just like a thing. Because, of course, we recorded our Last of Us Episode 8 post-show, which will be live pretty much momentarily, if it's not all live already. So go check that out if you haven't as of yet. Seth, Court, and I give all the spoilers, all the impressions, all the thoughts. So go check that out. And, of course, if you're watching this live on youtube.com/Carpool Gaming, please like, subscribe, share, hit that bell so you're notified when things happen. Go to patreon.com and tip yo drivers, patreon.com/Carpool Gaming. If you have extra bucks to toss our way to tip us, we would appreciate all of you very, very, very much. And of course, hit us with those 5-star reviews. Leave those reviews, those wonderful subscribes, and the 5 stars on your podcast services of choice, because on this week's show, our 92nd show, Court, we're coming up on 100. We're gonna have to have a little chatsy doodle, as they say, to do some planning for some fun stuff for 100.
Oh, we'll just do one live in Toronto or something like that.
Well, PlayStation Drive live in Toronto, Sunday, right?
There you go.
Right? I know. We're going to be talking all things Final Fantasy 16, PlayStation, Playmakers, and a whole bunch more. So strap in. What?
Kev just asked a question, and yes, we are 100% wearing matching shirts, and Seth Sturgill can confirm this. It was not purposely,
not planned.
This is actually the second time this has happened to Matt and I.
Yep.
We have 2 of the same shirts. We also literally the other day, I texted him, I bought a new TV, and I sent him what the TV was, and he was like, I just bought that today.
Yep. I had literally bought it not 12 hours before, and then I was going to message you the next morning, be like, hey, I bought a TV, and then you messaged me saying, hey, I bought a TV, and when you sent yours, it was exactly the same one. So yes, Kev, Court, and I are wearing the same shirt, not planned, but this is the world that we live in, and I love it! We are mentally syncing up more and more, and it's going to be incredible. But Court, of course, you're going to be on a plane soon. You're going off to the sunny shores of Florida, right? Where there is a lot of activity. There's a lot of fun. You're going to have a great time with your family. We'll miss you here on the PlayStation Drive very, very much, but we'll hold it down for you while you're gone. But I kind of will always do it. I always do this wherever I get ready for a trip, right? I go onto my Spotify, I grab a bunch of songs, and I throw them together on what we would call a playlist. And I want to know, what's been on your video game playlist as of late?
I was going to say, it's definitely Apple Music for me, and I literally am going to be doing that tonight. And that is a task. When I make a playlist before I go on a trip,
100%.
It's a task.
Yes.
Because it's like, okay, for this, my trip to Florida, it's going to be like, some Jimmy Buffett and Zach Brown band, because it's Florida. You want to be...
Is that like Jimmy Neutron?
Island-y. What, sorry?
Is Jimmy Buffett like another Jimmy Neutron?
No, Jimmy Buffett is no shirts, no shoes, no shirt.
Is it pronounced Jimmy Buffet?
No, stop. Anyways, I'm actually excited to make my playlist, and I'm bringing my Switch, so I will be making a video game playlist as well.
Dang right.
And possibly 100% bringing a laptop and hoping to figure out a way that I can play wirelessly, because I'm going to leave my PlayStation on and see if I can pull this off. I am going to do it. I'm going to leave it on and try and see if I can play remote play on it and see if it works. Yes, I believe in myself as well. What have I been playing? Because that was your question.
Yes.
I have been playing Dead Space.
Nice.
As I said to you and Seth earlier today, I'm on chapter 7 now. I know there's only 12. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try and finish it before I leave Wednesday at 4 a.m. So I'm going to be playing a lot of video games tonight to try and finish said video game. Mm-hmm. I did move it. No shame. I moved it to story mode. So for those playing Dead Space, if you move it to story mode, you can't die. Your health replenishes. I'm running through this game now instead of getting the living daylights beaten out of me. And I have been playing Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I have been playing Thumper.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And yes, it's actually I like that game.
It's very cool.
Yeah. And I've been playing After the Fall just for fun, because I just like shooting zombies.
Nice.
So I've been staying in the little world of VR, but for the next couple of days, I don't think I'm going to be diving into the VR as much. I'm just going to be playing some Dead Space. Oh, and I totally forgot.
Yes.
I ran some missions in the new season of The Division 2.
Nice.
And already killed my main target that I needed to do, and I have to wait now.
Proud of you. Did you end up finishing Horizon yet?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Nice. Okay.
Oh
Nice.
yeah. Done.
Done. Done.
I'm gonna go back and do all the climbs.
Right.
I'm very angry at this. I
Mad.
missed 3 targets in the whole game.
That's it. I have
That's
missed
it, with
far
no
more
guide.
than that. I've missed far more
3
than that.
targets in the whole game.
The one thing that I will say is like I'm really loving the game. I think I'm like in the last mission is when I had to just stop.
Whereabouts are you?
Without trying to spoil anything, okay?
Are you with the tall necks?
Right after that.
Okay, so yeah, you're close.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm like you're right near the end. So I'm right there and really, really enjoying it. The one like mini game side thing that can go straight into the dumpster is those standing stones. Those things drive me absolutely bonkers, dude.
Yep.
Like unbelievable. I sat there for probably 15 minutes trying to get one. Okay. And like for anybody who's unaware, there are these little like side objectives that you can do along the way. There's standing stones. They basically give you a bunch of rocks.
Valhalla. You do it in Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Okay, perfect. And you got to stack them, right? And then you have to leave them for like 2 to 3 seconds, and then they chime in, you get the thing. I spent 15 minutes on one corp because I couldn't devise how to stack these things singularly up without, doing the thing. I finally do it. I put my hands up like this and step back. Tell me how I smack it with my hand as I'm stepping back and send that thing flying. I turned around and left. I was done with that, and I have not done one since out of pure spite. So I love the targets. I love the legendary climbs. I probably will hop back in to do those. But those standing stones, dumpster fire. Get out of here. Don't want them.
Yep. They are get the F out of here. I did them once. Mm-hmm. And then the second one right before the Flinthawks happened, you can do that. There's the one around the corner. And I was trying to do it and it kept falling over, and it shows you how it's supposed to be, right? It actually shows you like you can put them on an angle to do this. And I'm like, nope, you know what? No, I literally threw the rocks over the cliff.
What do you mean? It shows you how you can do them. Where?
So, you didn't know that? Okay. So when you first walk up to them, there's a piece of paper there, and it's actually, you didn't know that? Well, how do you feel? So there's a parchment. You know how the parchment to show you how to put together and craft things? There's a piece of parchment right beside there.
I ignored those every time. I was like, I'm just gonna do this off of thing. I didn't even think to look at the parchment.
The parchment actually shows you how to make the Karen stones to make it. And the second one, you actually have to put them on you have to put one down and then make an
you
angle.
Can put 2 of them?
Yeah.
I've been stacking them singular file all the way up. Oh, come on.
But no,
man.
You know what? It says you can do it. I couldn't get it done. And like I said, I picked up the stone and I threw it off that cliff.
I did that too.
Like, forget it.
Multiple times. Toss them right off the cliff.
So for that on in, as I was playing the game, as soon as I saw them, I just move along. I didn't care.
No, I threw them off the cliff every time out of pure anger. But nice. So I'm glad. I hope you make it to your finale of Dead Space. In the next couple of days. I believe in you.
And Matt, I forgot to mention because my playlist will have a new game on it. So when I'm back on the PlayStation Drive, on the 20 whatever, that week of the 20th, Matt will once again have to listen to Court say, "I've been playing MLB The Show. I've been playing MLB The Show because MLB The Show 23 comes out on the 28th. Now, early access for said game is on the 24th." I will 100% be playing the living daylights out of this game and 100% be talking a ton about this game.
Dude, I am welcoming it. I felt like there has been an absence from my life with you not speaking about it for the last run of months. The only thing that I ask as you kind of get ready to enter the world of baseball once again is please don't hurt yourself this time.
I have a band that I can wear, a cold band to wear on my arm.
Do that.
And I'm not even kidding you. I was at the gym this morning and I was debating and thinking about exercise routines, and I Googled some for I'm not even kidding you. So that when I go to Florida for the 2 weeks, it's almost like I'll be in training for MLB The Show.
Good.
And I'm going to work on my arms so that I don't have this issue.
Please do. Please do. I don't want to see you go through that again because it would be very heartbreaking. But yeah, nice. Well, I'm excited for you. As for myself, I've kind of pretty much been living in VR land for the last little while. Can't stop playing Horizon. I'm almost at the end now. Really, really enjoying it. We had a whole PSVR 2 discussion video go live a few days ago. So if you've missed that, go check that out. we're joined by the weatherman on the Moose, Ryan Turford, to talk all things VR. And then I've been obsessed with Pavlov. That game is just pure chaos in the best way, shape, or form. There's it's basically like Counter-Strike, but in VR. And I grew up on Counter-Strike, loved CS. And for me, hopping back into that, it's just so much fun and it's so ridiculous. There is a mode that's basically like Among Us, but Counter-Strike, where everybody loads into the map and you essentially, some people are traitors and some people are not, and the traitors have to try and kill everyone. And it ends up being this like thing where you have a bunch of people standing around just yelling at each other as they're trying to like not pull the guns out and shoot each other as there's like this massive.
So it's like The Office where they're all just like holding their fingers.
It is 100% like that, and like the Spider-Man meme with them pointing at each other. It's that as you're trying to yell at each other to figure out who's the traitor and who's not. Hilarious. That game has been a blast so far. Really, really enjoying it. I picked up Like a Dragon, Ishin, and I haven't even had a chance to hop into it yet because we've been so busy. But that's definitely on the docket for this week. Along with, there's a game I can't talk about as of yet, but we'll have more to share about that very, very soon. So get excited about
I have been
that.
seeing kills from Pavlov.
Yeah.
And one of them is amazing. This guy walks up behind another guy and he took the gun out of his hand. So he walked up to the guy who was looking and trying to snipe people from like up on a perch.
Yeah.
He walked up and physically took the guy's gun out of the other guy's hand. The guy turns around and he freaking shoots him right between the eyes and drops him.
Yeah,
and then gets back to the perch. And I'm like, oh my God, that's the best thing ever.
Dude, I had like, there's a sniper popping off and I literally felt like I was like on my knees, like sneaking over it, trying to get up there, like climbed up the watchtower, popped up behind him and just knifed him in the head. So satisfying. It was incredible.
Wow.
That game,
violent, but I like it.
Oh, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Straight up Ellie vibes. So yeah, that's been on our playlist. And without further ado, we have a bunch of news to talk about. So let's do that with a quick little transition as we start talking about the PlayStation Playmakers. This is coming right from the SIE blog, the Sony Interactive Entertainment blog, of course, coming from SIE Communications. Introducing PlayStation Playmakers, a conversation with Eric Lempel. So we got an announcement that PlayStation family is starting to grow even more with the PlayStation Playmakers. They sat down with Eric Lempel, who's the SVP and head of global marketing, to basically talk about what they are. He goes on to say that they are a group of passionate PlayStation fans who also seem to be some of the most exciting creators, athletes, actors, artists, gamers, and entertainers in pop cultures today, with some of the, the inaugural PlayStation Playmakers being like LeBron James, King Bach, Nigel Sylvester, Nalissa Smith, CD Lamb, and there's a bunch more there from all over the world, including the Brazilian content creator Julio Cocello. I apologize if I messed up your name, but there's a whole bunch of them. And just to kind of, before we really start giving our thoughts and opinions on this, let's just kind of lump in the fact that we also got a question. We have a question, but we also got confirmation that LeBron James, being one of the PlayStation Playmakers, has a new line of stuff coming out PS5 related, including a new controller, a black controller with a bunch of stuff on it, and new plates as well for the PlayStation 5. Court, we got to dissect this a little bit because we need to talk, right? The PlayStation Playmakers is now a thing. Sony,
and it's not us.
It's not us. I was about to say, I'm a little salty that we're not Playmakers. PlayStation Canada, you know where we live. Hit us up. But
seriously, that's kind of creepy.
They do know where we live, like straight up. Court, hit me with your thoughts and feelings about the PlayStation Playmakers and this inaugural group of Playmakers.
It is not geared to us.
No.
So as a gamer, we're all going to go out there and we're all going to complain. And I even thought about it when I first saw it. I saw the console and I was like, the controller looks cool. Yes. I just thought they could have done a heck of a lot more on the plates, but he's an NBA superstar. I think he put maybe 15 minutes of thought into this, or he had someone to put the thought into it. And was like, here's an idea, go do this thing. But at the same time, they're not gearing, just like the advertisements during the Super Bowl, that it wasn't geared to us. Live from PS5, that is not geared to us. We're going to buy it. They're not marketing to us. So I always have to wear different goggles or to understand who this is marketing to. So you know what? They're probably picking the right thing. I don't know if LeBron, maybe pick another player or something. I know LeBron is one of the biggest basketball players in the world, but he's also one of the guys that everybody likes to dunk on all the time. And there you go. Yeah. But we'll see. Like, McDonald's does stuff with celebrities all the time and does these special Happy Meals and such like that. I'm sure they've looked at the demographics and they've looked at the stats on this, and this all makes sense. As a gamer, I couldn't care less. It doesn't speak to me. Nothing about this speaks to me. But that's not to say this doesn't speak to someone else.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that the program itself is cool, and I do like that there is a wide array of individuals who are involved in the program. Right now I'm a little bit whelmed by it. PlayStation Canada, call us, and then I'll feel great about it. As PlayStation playmakers, but I think this is cool. I think the controller does look cool. I do think the plates look cool. And LeBron was, of course, he was in the God of War trailer that we had, the God of War thing that we had with like Ben Stiller and stuff. So like it makes sense. But I think
Ben Stiller was funny. I didn't care the rest of it.
Yeah, I think what bugs me about this in its outset is that we've had little to no customization options for the PS5, specifically the plate, like the plates especially. The controllers were starting to get a little bit more of a regular consistency with their special controllers, like we had with God of War. We got one for Hogwarts, which is cool. Like there's a lot of cool stuff that they're doing, starting to do at least. What bugs me about this is that there's so many characters that like PlayStation has under its umbrella that I would much rather get special edition stuff for the characters, for the games that they have, for I would rather get that first. And if this was in addition to, that's fine. I think my issue here is that we've had such a slow drip feed of accessory stuff from them that this feels almost like they're trying to sell too hard. And again, I think you're right. I think the way that this has to be looked at is this isn't for us as much as it is to bring people in and to be like, oh, did you hear there's a LeBron PS5 there? I'm sure there are lots of people who get very excited about that. I just wish it was a Crash Bandicoot one, or a Spider-Man one, or a Nathan Drake one, or whatever, or an Ellie one, like
Design Labs.
I'm saying, and I feel like this in a silo is cool, but this, looking at it in the kind of greater scope of the PlayStation landscape, I just wish they were doing a little bit more with what they had rather than going to celebrities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I 100%. I get it, but what we want as gamers doesn't really matter because we're gonna buy it anyways.
That's true.
And I really want to hammer that home because like Design Lab and stuff like that, they can do that, but I would love to see the stats because we all like I made a Design Lab Xbox controller for my daughter. I would probably make one for PlayStation, but I wouldn't go back to the well again.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get kids or people that are going to want this LeBron PS5.
100%.
We're not going to, but that might sell a new console. Like you can see consoles out in the wild now, and they've got to sell them because we've all bought our consoles. True. But like I believe Nagachaka has a question even asking who would we want?
And let's bring Nagachaka into the car right now because, of course, if you want your questions read on the show, we have a weekly Twitter post that goes live. Leave them in the comments on the YouTube video or join our free Discord where we can hang out and talk with us and ask all your questions, just like Nagachaka did, who gets a special and early entry ticket into the question period, saying from the Discord, now that LeBron James has designed his own PS5 and DualSense controller, who else would you like to see as a PlayStation playmaker, and why is it Pedro Pascal? Court?
It is Henry Cavill. I'm sorry, Pedro Pascal, but Henry Cavill is a gamer. He plays a lot of video games. He would probably give us something we'd want, or a Superman console. I would definitely buy that. But like I would think that he would be awesome. But I'll say this before: Troy Baker is Joel, and Pedro Pascal just plays him on TV.
I don't know, dude. I think Pedro's would be really, really cool. I'd be all over that. I also think that again, I would rather see Yuri Lowenthal. Give me a Yuri Lowenthal thing. So you can have Spider-Man. You can have
that's only selling to us.
I know, but again, this is who I want, right? I want Yuri Lowenthal.
You want BTS?
I would love BTS, bro. Are you kidding me? I would buy 7 of those things. Do you know the bloodbath that it would be to find one of those? BT, of course, 100%.
See what I did there?
You did. You sold me on it. PlayStation playmakers, call BTS. But I think Pedro would be really cool. I think Yuri Lowenthal would be really, really awesome. In terms of other kind of general celebrities, I don't know. Henry Cavill is a good one because he is a huge nerd, and I think it'd be pretty cool. You could do something Witcher related. You could do something Superman related. There's a lot that you could do there. But yeah, I think those would be awesome. Even give one to Neil Druckmann and see what he does with it too, right? It doesn't have to be specifically Last of Us, but
give him to artists. Get Scott Snyder from the Batman series, but here, make us a custom, make us one.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. There's so much cool stuff that they could do with this that I hope, if this is the start, I hope it's a regular drip feed. I hope we get one of these every 3 or 4 months to, again, keep the engagement up, to get people excited, and to let it really speak to the entire market. But I think this is a cool idea, and I hope that we see more of this as we go. Coming up onto our next story, once again, coming from the PlayStation blog, we of course already had the announcement, but now games are available as of tomorrow. We're getting Battlefield 2042, Minecraft Dungeons, and Code Vein. All three of those will be hitting the service tomorrow on Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the month, of course. We've already spoken about this, but I'm very much looking forward to this. Battlefield 2042 really needs some love. It needs some new players in there because right now it's all crossplay all day, even though that game is a lot of fun. Court, which one of these is the most exciting
Minecraft
for you?
Dungeons
Yep.
all day. I'll play with my kid. We played a lot of it on the Xbox, so I'm actually excited to
Yes.
jump back in. And it's not on this list, but this Friday, because it's a games release, there's not much releasing this week, but DC Superheroes is actually releasing on Friday for my friends over at Outright Games. And I kid you not, go on the trailers. Everybody go check this game out. It actually looks like a ton of fun. It's 2-player co-op. You can go around. One could be Superman, Batman. You could be a bunch of different characters. It just looks like a ton of fun. It's just almost
is it
like
Justice League Cosmic Chaos?
That's the one.
Okay, I'm pulling up the trailer right now so folks can see as you talk about it.
It looks like a ton of fun. I'm going to be getting a copy of it on Switch, I believe, because I am going to be away. So if the game is on Switch, I'm going to be playing it. So I'm excited to play this. So when I get back, I will be talking about this game because my daughter has been waiting for this game to come out.
This is really cute. This game looks like a lot of fun.
It looks amazing.
It looks awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm stoked to hear your thoughts and opinions as you kind of get back from your trip. But yeah, this looks great. Definitely a great game to, play with loved ones and family. And this looks awesome. I'm excited to hear what you think. Let's keep this train rolling on to our next story from VGC, written by Chris Scullion. Forspoken developer Luminous Productions is to be merged into Square Enix. The studio is currently working on Forspoken DLC. In a press release issued today, which was February 28th, Square Enix Holdings, which oversees all the company's business, announced that Luminous will be merging into Square Enix. Square Enix Holdings Co. announced that it will merge its wholly owned subsidiary, Luminous Productions, into a wholly owned subsidiary, Square Enix, as effective Monday, May 1st. Essentially, they're going to continue to work on different stuff, but they will be in-house on Square Enix and not be Luminous Productions anymore. Court, how much of this do you think has to do with the critical and fan reception of Forspoken, and what do you think?
Well, I think the game not doing well is going to be Square Enix's no nonsense. Like, who are we kidding? They just scrap things and they kick things to the curb real quick. They don't let things to breathe very often. Heck, Sony doesn't really, right? Like look at Ben's studio with Days Gone. It was just like, all right, the game's good, and they were like, no, not good enough. Forspoken, I played the demo. I haven't even played the game, and that says a lot. And I think there's a lot of us that haven't played this game, so it's unfortunate. My hope out of all of this is people just don't lose their jobs. That's all.
Yep, I hope they get rolled into Square Enix properly, because you're right. Like, I think this would have been a very different story if this game had been received well. And like, again, you and I were both excited about it. We were both really looking forward to this game. And, I would argue that you and I are probably in the top percentile of PlayStation fans. And for us to pass on this the way that we did, like, it's unfortunate, because that demo, I really do think, soured us on the experience before the game even came out. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I hope, like you mentioned, I hope everybody gets to keep their jobs and they continue to work on projects that they're passionate about or projects that they care about. It's unfortunate, but I hope everybody at least lands on their feet.
My question to you, though, Matt.
Yeah.
How soon to this drops on PlayStation Plus?
Oh, dude. I would say by the end of the year.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming for sure.
Like, I know they usually like to wait to their year point, but to me, I think like this could be a pretty awesome, if they really want to get bullish with it, drop it in June when they do their E3 or E3 adjacent thing. You know what I mean? Like, if the game is already not selling well at that 6-month-ish point, drop it.
It's already not selling well.
That's what I mean. If it continue, if that continues, and Luminous is being merged in as of May 1st. Once they have their big, press conference, their showcase at, end of May, beginning of June, leading up to E3, drop it then. Like, why not? Like, it would raise hype, especially with Square Enix having theoretically, with Final Fantasy 16 hitting in June, with Rebirth potentially hitting this winter. Drop it now, or drop it then. Raise hype, get people in the door before it's lost entirely into what will be two, hopefully incredible Final Fantasy games. Because this game will go out to die, so might as well get it in people's hands while they still play it. But yeah, it's unfortunate, and I hope everybody lands on their feet. The next story we're going to be touching on is once again from VGC, written by Tom Ivan. 14 minutes of new Dead Island 2 gameplay has been revealed. Following years of delays, the sequel will finally arrive in April. The action takes place in Bel Air, Los Angeles at the start of the game. It shows off Danny, one of 6 fully customizable characters players can choose. Apparently they are an agile character, and they're going to a mission. So you get to see 14 minutes of it. We won't play it here because it's a little graphic and a little gruesome, but I don't know, dude. I'm kind of meh about this game. I don't know how to feel about it. Am I off base here, or is there a reason to be hyped?
It looks fun. It looks like they went back to it. They still got the RPG elements in there, but it looks like they dumbed it down a bit and they were back to like, hey, make crazy weapons and just beat people up and kill zombies. I like the Dead Island series. I know I'm in the minority in this where I didn't like Dying Light 2.
Yeah.
So, which is fine. So this is definitely, I like this series. I like the first person zombie killer game. So I'm gonna check it out, hopefully. Or probably wait for the reviews, because Dying Light 2 was one of those games where I was like, I'm in. I love Dying Light 1, except for the jump mechanic. I can't stand it. And you can't remap the buttons. It makes absolutely no sense. But I now have a DualSense Edge. So whoever wants to remap buttons, I can do it anyways. Whether you want me to use the triggers for jump, because, as a gamer, X is never the jump button.
No.
In no game have we ever played where X is the jump button. You know what we want to do? We want to make it so the triggers are the jump button, because that makes total sense. Not shoot or grenades, which everybody knows them to be, or punch, because that's what they are. Nope, not X. So I would just remap it.
Yeah, I liked Dying Light 2. I think it was okay. I think it was like a very solid 6 to 7 out of 10. Had a lot of issues with the bugs and stuff, around launch. But I do like the parkour. I think that is what kind of kept me in to see the game through to its finale. Dead Island 2, I think similarly, this might be like a wait for reviews for me. It is hitting at a good time. Coming, what was it, in April? Yeah, in April, because around it, we'll have the Horizon Forbidden West DLC. And Mega Man Battle Network Collection are the 2 things that I have on my list that really stand out in April. So it is hitting at a good time. It might hit that sweet spot of a window with not else around.
Is it hitting before or after Horizon?
That is a good question.
Because if it's before, maybe
April 21st, the Horizon DLC is slated for April 19th. But again, we don't know how long the DLC is. The DLC could be a hop in for a weekend.
Yeah, but if it's anything like the Frozen Wilds, I don't think it's a hop in for the weekend. I look at this right now. This game for me as a PlayStation gamer, probably a pass until it's on sale. Look what happened to me with Dead Space.
Yep.
I didn't get to it in time. I started playing it, and then PSVR came out, and I love the game so much. But if it was any other type of game that I already didn't know the story, I don't think I would have went back.
Fair.
Would have just moved on.
Yep, it's a fickle time to be a gamer right now because of how much is coming out all at the same time. Coming into our next story, coming from Push Square, written by Sammy Barker. Sony ordered to pay refunds as Australian court declares FIFA gambling. Sony has been ordered to pay refunds after an Austrian court ruled FIFA Ultimate Team a form of gambling. The controversial game mode sees players spending money on digital card packs, which include virtual footballers. These can be traded, sold for in-game currency, or used to assemble teams, which fans can compete online. But Games Workshop, apologies if I butchered that, reports that a small court in Hermagor filed in favor of several FIFA players who took Sony to court in 2020. It's basically gone on to say that they have now ruled that this is now gambling, especially because PlayStation Store takes a cut on all of these coming through the PS Store. They gambled away around $425 in game, and they basically want to say that they've been ordered to pay back about $359, but is yet to comment on the ruling. This is interesting, court, because this is the first time we've really seen a story like this break where, as far as to my knowledge, that they were actually getting a definitive answer, at least in some part of the world, that these things are gambling and there is recompense to get money back here. Do you think that this sets a precedence worldwide, or is this something that's is going to be ignored here more than not?
I don't think it would be ignored at all. It actually goes back to when I grew up, I was collecting hockey cards, and I never would have thought of that. But there is a dopamine hit when you open it and get the card 100%. You want.
Yeah.
And as someone that was lucky enough to go through that with hockey cards and hit that crescendo when I realized, oh my God, like I'm like this is financially stupid of me to continue to do.
Hmm.
That is the reason I think that I never got into loot boxes and such. And that one of the reasons I like MLB The Show is because it's not pay to win. You
Hmm.
can get packs of cards, but you're not paying. You play the game to get them. The
Hmm.
way NHL, FIFA, and Madden, the EA franchises, one of the reasons I stopped playing NHL this year, hockey is my favorite sport, but they have way too many gotcha mechanics in it, and they really want you to pay to win.
Hmm.
And it's frustrating, and I don't think it's fair. And I'm hoping that this does set a precedent and this does stop the gotcha mechanics that EA, who happens to be the worst that I know of games that I like that do this.
Hmm.
Like the practices that EA does, and they first, and it really, I think, came to light when they were doing Battlefront 2,
Yep.
and everybody lost their mind on them with total understanding, especially when they picked a franchise like Star Wars and they didn't think they could just get away with it. It was like
Yeah.
people were like, nah,
I
this
know.
ain't cool.
Hmm.
I totally understand if you want to sell specific items or cosmetics, that's fine. But when you have it as a random chance to get a certain cosmetic, I don't like that. And with these ultimate teams that they have in these sports games, the fact that you can't grind to play to get them is just unfair. Like in EA, they don't really give you points or a way to get, they give you a way to go get them, but you barely can get any packs.
Hmm.
And it's not like MLB The Show where they're like, you can pay. You can go out there and pay to get all this stuff. Or if you're willing to put time into the game,
Right.
you can get them this way. The way EA does it, it's like, hey, here's these unrealistic goals that you're not going to hit.
Hmm.
So what's going to happen is you're going to grind. It's not going to give you any reward, and you're going to jump in the coins to get your team good enough, because if you don't, you're going to get the floor mop with you online.
Yep.
So I'm hoping this makes change.
I'm with you. I do think that a lot of these things, especially in the court, in this situation with the Austrian court, including one of the plaintiffs was a minor, right? You and I are at the age now where we can make choices, right? We know exactly what it is that we're doing when we spend our money, whether it's for a loot box, a ultimate player, or whatever else. We make the choice, right? A lot of times these are kids or these are young teenagers who don't understand how these things really correlate to one another, let alone how much of a time sink and a money sink these things can be. So I would love to think that this would start to make a change. I am a little bit more on the naysayer side, where I think this is going to get largely ignored here in Canada and probably in the States as well, just because these things make too much money, man. Like there isn't an incentive for them to stop outside of a moral one, or one that we obviously agree on. I think these things just print money too much for them to care, and they're just going to do whatever it is that they want to do regardless of it, until there is a massive uproar here, or we see a lot of these things kind of hit at the same time. I don't know if we're going to see any valuable change done here, unfortunately. I'd love to be wrong. I'd love for you to be right, where we actually start to see an impact and we start to see change on this front. I just don't know if it's going to happen.
So I had to do a quick Google. I put, can you use a precedent set in Europe courts in North America? You can use it as an argument in Canada. Not necessarily mean they're going to go along with it, but in the United States, shocker, not so much.
No.
Foreign opinions are not authoritative. They set no binding precedent for the U.S. judge.
Mm-hmm.
So in the United States, it's a no, but in Canada, it could set a precedent. If this sets a precedent, the game is big in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So FIFA is huge in the UK.
Yep.
Like what we think Call of Duty is here, that's what it is. That's what FIFA is in the UK.
Massive, yeah.
If they can't sell loot boxes, and that's what they are, they call them packs, but if they can't sell loot boxes in the UK, they will change the game.
Yep.
It won't matter what North America wants. The game will change.
Yep.
So if EA is going to get told you can't do this, they're going, what I think is going to happen is they're going to be forced to make it so that you can play to get these things. So they're going to do what MLB The Show does. Like MLB The Show, you can buy these packs if you want. But like I said, you can realistically, and I use the word realistically, you can realistically grind to get them.
Mm-hmm.
In FIFA and Madden and NHL, you can't realistically grind to get these cards.
True.
Where you see no money spent people, I don't believe them half the time. Or they're EA game changers or somebody like that who get packs from EA.
There you go. Well, I hope you're right, Court. I hope we do start to see some change from these games because, again, a lot of money being thrown at them almost needlessly. Our final story that we're going to talk about before we roll into questions is one that I'm very excited about, with Final Fantasy 16 getting a bunch of previews. Go check out SkillUp's. His is awesome and also gives a whole bunch of cool information regarding the game itself. But of course, we got some cool things confirmed in these previews. We got 30 frames and 60 frames modes confirmed. The main story will be about 35 hours. There's over 11 hours of cinematics. It's a semi-open world, probably along the lines of, your Tales of Arise, where it's not going to be completely open. You're just going to have large zones. There's going to be seamless transitions from gameplay to cutscenes. There's a public demo that's planned about 2 weeks before launch, and I think I remember it saying that will carry over into the main game. Obviously, extremely high production values. There's going to be huge boss battles with the icons, and I think you're actually going to be able to control Ifrit. There's fast-paced combat. Of course, I think they have the combat designer from Devil May Cry who's on it. So that combat's going to look much more like that. And of course, the story focuses on our main protagonist, Clive, but there is lots of lore and other characters involved in the story as well. Court, I'm obviously incredibly excited about this. So before I kind of pop off entirely, I know that I think you're getting a little more sold on this game the more we see it. I think you're getting a little more excited for someone who's not traditionally into Final Fantasy games. Tell me how you feel.
I am very happy it is not turn-based. I am very curious because it's not turn-based. I like the hack and slash of the Devil May Cry games.
Mm-hmm.
I like the art of Final Fantasy. I like the art direction. It's just the game itself, what they put behind the game with the turn-based combat is just not for me.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't work. I think it was what was it? Final Fantasy 7, not at 7, 11, 13, the one that was all over the place. Everybody, it was on Xbox.
13.
It was 13.
13 with lightning.
Yeah. I liked the story, and I tried to get into that game. It was the combat system that just drove me absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, I can't get into this game. Everything about the open world was very cool. I was just like, oh, please. I don't want to have to have like your characters dancing on the screen before they do something. It's just not for me. So if it's hack and slash, I will play it. How about this? I am saying this right now. I will play this Final Fantasy. Drellish, everybody, I will play this one.
You heard it here first. Drellish, Court's committing to play it. Because, we have had action combat in Final Fantasy before, with 15 taking that kind of step, with 7 Remake obviously kind of building on it. But I think this is the closest that we're going to get to a Devil May Cry, where it looks to be a lot more fluid. It looks to be quite action heavy, which I'm very excited about. There's a space for different kind of combat systems within one series. Let this thing, let them come back to turn-based if they want to, a 17 or a spin-off. With this game is looking really, really cool. The combat seems to be very slick, very fast. I'm very excited to get my hands on it. 60 frames is obviously really, really cool. The demo is also awesome. I wish it was sooner.
Can we get back to that? How is not every game 120 by now?
Because of limitations in hardware, Court. Like part of it is.
That doesn't make any sense. We all have these very extremely expensive consoles that we were all told, HDMI 2.1, all these touts.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it every single console generation they have this thing like the previous one where everything was supposed to be 4K, and then what happened? Not everything was in 4K. It was either checkerboard, maybe 4K. Now this one, we're getting 60, and we've already gotten to the point of the console generation where we're like, well, at least we're getting 60.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember at the beginning, we were getting a bunch of 30 frames per second, and maybe 60, maybe we're getting the 55s and stuff like that. And I'm still at this point where when are they actually going to give us what they tell us?
So for me,
none of them do it. Why?
I haven't been able, at least I haven't really looked into it, but I'm comfortable with 60. As long as we're hitting a stable 60, I'm comfortable with that. 120 for me, it would be really cool, but I think there's a lot of people who don't even have TVs that can be able to run 120.
Which is fine, but they promised it with these consoles. That's my
only was them catering to the old hardware, and especially with Xbox, right? Like they have to cater to the Series S alongside the Series X. So for me, I'm excited to see what's going to come from this, if and what will be, whether we will see more of this. But for Final Fantasy 16, I think it's looking really, really cool. Playing as the icons sounds awesome. The seamless transition, like I want this game and I want it now, and I'm so excited to get my hands on it. I can't wait, Court. I can't wait. And I think the biggest thing was that you've now committed to playing it, which is a win for all of us globally. Everyone benefits.
I don't think it is. I think I'm just going to end up disappointing people. Last time you got me to play a game, you were so excited. And then what happened an hour after I started playing it?
Yeah.
I texted you, like, I can't do this anymore.
But,
mind you, turn-based combat again, right?
Well, no, Yakuza's not turn-based. It's brawler. But that one there was too much intro. There's too much going on that bothered you, which I understand. I get it. Let's let some of our friends into the car because we have some questions that we obviously have to talk about. Coming from Twitter, Sumit Roy at Black Wyver asks, do you reckon we'll get a glimpse of the upcoming Wonder Woman game anytime soon? And will it be a part of James Gunn's master plans for the DCU? Hashtag asking for a friend. Are we going to see Wonder Woman soon? And is it going to be part of the DCU?
You stalled again on my end, so I don't know if you can see me.
Yeah, I can see you.
So DC does their fandom every year.
Mm-hmm.
We would see it there. If we're going to see anything to do with this game, it'll be at fandom, unless there's a partnership deal like we did with Suicide Squad, how we just saw it in a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would assume, and you remember Gotham Knights was shown at fandom a lot.
True.
I would assume if we're going to see gameplay from Wonder Woman as a DC fan, it would be at fandom.
Do you think it'll be part of the DCU?
I am not sure on this one because the Wonder Woman that they say that we're going to be getting is not technically what they were showing in that. So I would say maybe they're going to have to retcon it and change what they were already doing. If James Gunn is sticking by what he said, where the video games are going to go with the movie, like everything is going to be
connected,
one universe. Unfortunately, unlike Marvel, who doesn't do that with the video games, and I actually like it that they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would assume that they had to go back to the drawing board on this game, unless they were that far along. I would be very curious. You know what? This game is getting delayed. I'm
with you because I feel like this game is probably too far in development for them to now, like you mentioned, unless they completely rebuild what they're doing to make it fit into James Gunn's, vision for the universe, because we don't even have Wonder Woman in that initial slate of what they've announced, right? Like we don't have a Wonder Woman project. We have Superman and we have Batman, but we don't.
Hold on. Not solo. There wasn't a solo Wonder Woman.
There was like a Themyscira.
Yeah,
that's a show or something. But but we don't know if it's Wonder Woman's involved.
Yeah, I'm hopping in.
I think it's a little too late. They may add like a post credit or something. They may be able to do something with it to link it. But you might be right. Maybe they delay it entirely for a while and kind of rebuild it a little bit to make it fit.
Waller, where you could introduce anybody you want in that. So they have the Waller show because technically Batman's Wonder Woman. Anybody could be in that. The Batman, the Authority, which nope, has nothing to do with that. I'm actually going to, while I'm on vacation, I'm going to read about all these comics that I didn't know, the Authority and Booster Gold, and Brave and the Bold, which is Batman, the Lanterns,
Supergirl. Yep.
Yeah, we have Paradise Lost. That's Wonder Woman.
But
that's Wonder Woman Legacy.
But
is
that confirmed to be Wonder Woman?
Yeah, well, it's Wonder Woman Legacy will continue on HBO show Paradise Lost, a Game of Thrones style type story. The places long before Diana's even born, so it'll be in the Wonder Woman world.
Yes, it'll be at the Themyscira.
If you're going to be doing a game, you would have to keep it in the same canon, right? Like you can't introduce a character that isn't in this, because what they're doing now is they're technically doing a prequel to Wonder Woman, right?
Yep.
So anything that's in there has to continue in the video game.
Yep. I don't know. I think this is a great question, Sumit, and I wish we had a better answer for you, but I just think that the game is probably too far along for them to connect it, and this may be like a one shot. Like
there's way too much money put in this DC thing. I think you delay the game.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will definitely keep you posted as we find out more. And for our final question from Twitter, from Servant at the Servant Gamer, he asks, besides hashtag PSVR2, what does first party Sony have planned for the rest of 2023? Of course, this is something we have speculated at length about. Like we've already said, we know Final Fantasy 16 is coming, not first party, but it is an exclusive. We know Spider-Man 2 is coming, and Horizon is coming. That's all that we know of. And like, we've talked about factions possibly hitting, the Last of Us multiplayer expansion,
or what Ben is doing.
Whether the Uncharted reboot is real, it exists, and whether it's coming this year or not is still a possibility.
They're rumored a Horizon multiplayer, and
Yep.
isn't there a rumored first-party VR game? Just recently, people started. No, that's an Assassin's Creed. No, continue.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I think that's kind of, if we get Spider-Man 2, if we get factions, if like we know we're getting Final Fantasy, I kind of think that like that may be what they rest on this year. Like
Spider-Man's kind of big.
we may get one of those 12 free to play games that they've been talking about, whether that's Horizon or something else. That's a possibility.
And technically, Lightfall right now, that's a PlayStation game, right? That's like Bungie is
Technically,
PlayStation.
yeah.
Technically, that's a first party game now.
Yeah, I don't know if we'd get anything more than that.
I wonder
year.
if I would, you know what? I almost want to buy the game just to load up and see the loading screen if it says PlayStation.
I don't think it would say PlayStation Studios. It might say Sony.
But like, I'm talking about the PlayStation moniker that goes up and has all like the stuff going on with it.
I don't think they would because
they're they copied directly from Marvel.
100%. I don't think it would just because they're technically not PlayStation Studios.
I know, but I'm very curious. Plus, they have MLB The Show.
Yep. Of course, yeah. MLB The Show.
With that, I don't know. Like, Spider-Man's huge. Like, do you even need anything around it? Plus, I'll be totally honest here. You're Sony and Nintendo's dropping Zelda. Whatever, man. And there's an Elden Ring DLC coming out. Just let those things live. You don't need to put anything around it.
Yep. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. We would love, obviously, more first-party Sony stuff, and if we hear about it, you'll be hearing about it on this show. Or
the only thing, here's what I will say this.
Say this.
The only thing that we could get, and people would probably lose their minds on way too soon, is like a remastered of The Last of Us Part 2.
Do you think so?
The show is doing gangbusters. If you're Sony, you like money. Figure it out.
I feel like if they're going to drop it on PC, they'd probably see it around the same time, like an upgraded thing, or they're going to do
versions
PS5.
Of these games come out way far after the game itself.
True.
Right?
Yep.
If Last of Us Part 1 is coming out, in the next 2 weeks, because it's on the 28th, it comes out.
Yep.
On PC.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if in June they're like, oh yeah, in October we're gonna have The Last of Us Part 2, or November, make it that Christmas game. Like, have Spider-Man be the thing, and then be like, oh, also we have another game where you can go out if you haven't played it, the PS5 version of The Last of Us.
They could drop that in September, like August, September, which is what they did with Part 1, and it ended up being a fantastic time for it. A year later, after Part 1 came out.
They like money, or they do it next year. Like, I see the remaster of this game, not the remake like we got of The Last of Us Part 1, but a remaster of Last of Us Part 2. I don't see how they don't want the money on that one.
And they could very easily do The Last of Us Complete, where they have, Part 1 and they have Part 2, sell it together. That's another way that they could just print money.
Selling Last of Us.
100%. They're going to, especially after the success of the show, man.
They'd have to do it before the season 2 of the show comes out.
100%. Yeah. That thing's at least 2 years out. Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. But before we go, Court, we are going to miss you the next couple of weeks. Have a wonderful vacation. If people wanted to stay in touch with you while you're on vacation, where could they do so?
Please don't. Or you can find me on Twitter at Court Lalonde, or you can find me at Carpool Gaming, or every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 Dads and a Console.
That's right. Go check Court out in all of those places. As for myself, you can find me on Twitter at Matt_SilverSoul. Go check out our Last of Us post-show series. Of course, we're gearing up for the season finale next week. But before we go, we have to make sure we thank all of our wonderful patrons, including our ultimate producer, Robbie Bobby Miller. Subscribe to Robbie Bobby's Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Robbie Bobby Miller. Trucker Sloth, Tony Baker from Quest for Pixels. Please subscribe to youtube.com/Quest for Pixels today. Jonathan Brown, the new album from PME is called Video Game Boy and is available on Spotify and Apple Music.
And we just dropped an interview with Mr. JB, and you can catch it out on Carpool Gaming. We had a great in-depth interview with him talking about his brand new his brand new album that dropped not too long ago.
There you go. Make sure you go check that out, including Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. Links are in the show notes. Please support these ultimate producers. Our platinum producers, Marcus McCracken and RJ Kern, and our gold members, Anna Bauza, Cecily Carosa, Dallas Robbins, Drellish, Emily O'Kelly, Foolish Fuji, Jonas Young, Jose Jimenez, Marcus O'Neill, Tim Paulin. We're going to welcome back Sean Hannigan to the exclusive tier, Dano as a gold member, And of course, 1 second, Hopple, who is also a gold member, Brian Reese for joining at the exclusive tier, and Bob Blah Blah, who joins us as a gold member. Everyone, thank you so much for your continued support. We appreciate all of you very, very much, and we will see you next week. Peace.